chaos is intentional, and a lot of times it's intentionally used to distract and disorient us and keep us off our game. And I can see it in a couple different areas of life that's happening right now. One is in my religious life, where when I'm dealing with Christian friends and family and we get in conversations, they try to distract and disorient in a conversation. When you bring up a valid point to challenge their belief system, say, why is such a merciful God allowing people to go to heaven or go to hell and be punished for eternity when they seem like good and decent people? And then they come out with a bunch of verses and start throwing this. And that's how they disorient you. They start saying terminologies and verses and all this other minutia that they're putting out there so that you're focused on that. So now you're trying to figure out the 10 verses they just gave you in that. And as you start to retort on the first one, they throw another 10 out. And you just get washed by wave after wave after wave of minutia that's coming on to you. And you can never get caught back up, and you lose control of the narrative. They're not answering the question, because if you were to go through each of the verses they said, you can easily disprove what they're saying. So it's just this chaos control to just flood with information to make you feel distracted and disoriented in what's coming out and make them seem authoritative that they're using their book to justify it all, even though you could use that same book to disjustify it. So if you flip it on itself and say, no, and hold their feet to the fire and be like, given all these verses, if you want to give verses, let's discuss them one at a time, and I can prove to you each one individually how it's wrong. But they don't want to do that because they know they're going to lose the argument. But if they keep flooding it, then you're busy and disoriented in that. And it's the same thing with what's happening in the political world today in our society. And it was actually the campaign strategy to flood with information, misinformation, if you will, and just put it out there. Just keep throwing just random thoughts and everything out there. People are eating this. There's a problem with people coming across our country. There's millions of illegal immigrants in here that are doing all sorts of awful deeds that can't be said on this app to people, and we need to get them all out. And you start diving into each of these individual things and trying to defend and say, no, this isn't it. And then more stuff comes in, and then you're defending all that, and you never get a chance to push your narrative or challenge them on anything that they're actually saying, because there's so much coming in. It distracts and disorients you, and it's what's continuing to happen in this administration now. It's all this stuff gets pushed out and just swarms you with all this information, and you get lost in it. So you got to raise past it and understand, one, it's not burying your head in the sand, but you look past it and don't deal with all the details of everything that's going on, because most of it's just bullshit. And it's not that you can actually do anything about, or it's not anything that's going to be done about. But hold their feet to the fire. What about egg prices? You're campaigning on that really hard, and they're still going way, way up. What have you done for that? And don't tell me it's going to take a while. You promised on day one you're going to do it, and you have yet to do anything on any of your first 10 days or whatever it is now on dealing with that. And hold their feet to the fire and make them answer the questions. The other thing is that let them, as you hold their feet to the fire, what I found happens a lot is that they keep trying to throw more information out. And all you're doing is giving them more and more rope, so that eventually they get caught up in their own lies, and it comes back and bites them. And you're starting to see some of that now. You see it with AI. Big campaign thing was, we're going to be the forefront in America on AI, and we're going to invest all this money, and we're going to cheat the system and keep all of the CPU processing things over here, and we won't allow companies to sell the best ones out anywhere else. And then within a week and a half of the new administration, China, with a giant middle finger extended, said, we did it with less equipment and less time and less energy use. We did it, and it works just as good, if not better than anything you had, cheaper than you ever did, and with less computing power than anything you did. They made a better product. And they're sitting there with their heads between their tails between their legs now, sheepishly, well, we got to do better. This is the type of thing that happens. They get called out, they get exposed for what they're doing, and the world's going to do a lot of that for us. And we're going to see it happen in here when you start seeing all the immigration issues going in, and the actual good people that are here working and trying to get somewhere ahead in life and get some money for themselves. And now all of a sudden you're going to have fruit hanging from trees, or vegetables in the ground not getting picked. And our prices of groceries are going to go skyrocketed. Why? Because of the decisions you made. You didn't see the consequences. These people are so nearsighted. Christians, politicians, everything else. They only see what's right in front of them. They don't see the consequences, the next 4 steps ahead of them, what's going to happen. They're not even playing checkers. when they're doing this. And it's going to get exposed. So just look past all of the minutia and everything coming past and hold their feet to the fire on what they need to be held to the fire on. And let them keep exposing themselves, because it's going to happen eventually. Stay positive, stay on top of it, don't get washed in all the details, and hold their feet to the fire and make them prove that they're going to do what they said they're going to do.